Okay, so would you mind introducing yourself for the audience, please?
Yeah. So my name is Anita, Anita Kos. I'm a painter from Croatia, and I paint with my bare hands.
I like it. Yeah, the first time I had you on, you said
Yeah,
something similar. I'm not sure
yeah,
exactly what it was, but it was definitely something
maybe.
about how you make
Yeah.
things with your hands. Now, it's nice that you introduce yourself as a painter, but you're also an incredibly good draftsman. Because I got to know you first for your drawing skills. Um,
hmm
and I remember us having a bit of a conversation over Instagram about whether you should pursue one over the other. Have you
Yeah,
decided on that, or have you kept both up, equally?
yeah. I just kept them both equally because sometimes when I'm super bored with painting and I'm kind of fed up with painting, I just switch to ink drawings and my sketchbooks. So I like them both.
Yeah,
I mean, I know that they're different, so and I'm fine with that.
they are
Yeah,
slightly different. They definitely relate to each other, but I
yeah,
can see that with your drawing, you're kind of more, how can I put it? This kind of more conceptual injection of kind of, things that are almost surrealist, if you know what I mean. It's kind of dreamlike, like it'll be kind of like a big thing of hands all together and stuff, or it'll be, um, I'm trying to think of some of the things. I'm sure there's one with like branches and twigs, but then human limbs as well. It's quite an
mhm,
interesting, almost dreamlike quality to them, which
yeah,
is how it relates to your paintings, which is people, either sleeping or, curled up with this lovely quilts and things. Do you see the connection between the two, or is that unconscious? Is that something you're not conscious of?
mm, I think you're thinking about some old drawings that I was kind of trying to be deliberate with that, just trying to think to draw like more like Polish drawings, like to be exactly something. But now I'm mostly doing maybe from observation drawings, maybe something like that. Yeah. And I switched that concept of trying to make something like nicer things to paintings. Yeah, with
So,
that concept.
so why did you change from the drawings that you used to do to observation? Is that a way of studying and kind of learning more, or is it preference? What is it?
Maybe it's kind of not really maybe learning and studying, but more like um, I didn't want them to feel, I don't know, I wanted to make them feel more free and not, I don't know how to describe this.
Okay, so you didn't want to kind of box yourself into a certain style, I suppose, is that?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
then, so observation, will it be the public, or do you set up still life? What do you mean by observation?
I just go to some places or when I'm waiting for buses or for someone, or I just look like this chair, this everything around me. I just draw like super small stuff. So
And is it ink drawings that you're doing?
yeah, it's mostly ink. I carry like super small inks and the nibs and I just but sometimes I also have some kind of brush pen. This is nice when you're outside, so you don't have to worry about spilling the ink and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Or this with the pen, the regular pen that you can buy it.
Okay.
This also works. Yeah, but I'm not sure about how well it can be preserved after 20 years. Maybe some of the inks, these pens, they kind of started to lose the mark. It kind of started to be some kind of yellowish tone. It's really bizarre. Yeah.
Really? You see, I almost like things like that. I like when things start to age and
Yeah,
almost
yeah,
deteriorate. It can
yeah.
have a
It's
quite,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, it's a nice quality to them almost. you might even be able to utilize that and do something and say, right, see you in 20 years. I'll continue with
Yeah,
that
yeah,
with different
exactly.
inks, But yeah, so as far as your painting goes, I've always loved how much you can really you kind of combine pattern with uh, the human form, and you
Mhm.
always seem to have those two elements really nicely, as well as lovely textures of drapery and things. So has that continued since I last spoke to you?
Yeah, yeah, it is. I'm working on that.
Yeah, and that's because I remember talking to you about meanings behind that as well. Have you had anyone talk to you about any interpretations they have of your paintings?
Um, Not to me specifically, but when I had exhibition, the some lady came to exhibition and talked to this woman that was there guarding the exhibition. That was there. That is her job was. So she was kind of telling her like something about the meaning and that kind of stuff. So yeah,
Do you
I
remember what
wish
she
I was
said?
there, but oh, I don't remember. But it was something about that.
I always find that interesting how people
Yeah,
can interpret paintings because sometimes an artist will paint work and not really think about deeper themes that might be
yeah,
in there. And someone else can talk about how they read the painting, and the
yeah,
artist will then discover something about themselves from someone else's
yeah,
understanding of that work, which can be fascinating.
yeah.
So
And then you can see like how people can see it in from some other angle, and then you can see it and see that, and yeah,
it's nice, isn't it? It's kind of it's a way of communicating with the world, part of who
yeah,
you are.
yeah.
Have you thought about the meaning to you? Have you had any thoughts on that?
Oh, for me, I don't have a meaning for all of them, but before it was for some of them it was meaning like I'm kind of sick of painting. I'm sick of this world. I just want to cover myself, and it was that. Yeah, but some of them they're kind of they don't have a meaning. I just some of them I like just how visually they're connected, how they're wrapped in this stuff. So yeah, they're kind of different,
So is
but
your oh
they
sorry,
kind
go
of
on.
all fit in that subject, so it's fine.
Yeah, they're definitely all a part of a body of work. And um yeah, I was thinking when I last spoke to you, it was your sister who you would have sleeping that you'd paint. Is she still
Yeah.
your model that you get?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, well, not so often because we're not as much together, but I still have some of the references and that kind of stuff. So I kept her, like, I kept working from her stuff that
Yeah.
I have.
And is it the relation between the kind of is it how you I mean I'm wondering because you go I don't necessarily have a meaning, but that's what you're drawn to painting is that subject. It's always the comfort of sleeping, being wrapped up in a duvet, having this lovely warmth and security. Is that something which you just like the aesthetic of, or what is it that makes you interested in that subject matter?
I like aesthetics and kind of the meaning behind sleeping, and I don't know, I'm just drawn to it.
Yeah,
So,
because your drawings are of something quite different now, and you're not led to painting still life paintings of the chair or the public or things like that in
yeah,
the same way. So it's
yeah,
interesting how there's almost this dichotomy of um, your interest as far as sketches and studies, and then
yeah,
your painted work has this
yeah.
kind of partition between the two.
Yeah, it's because I think it's because the paintings they're larger scale, and they're kind of just in studio, and I'm painting them like 1 month, 2 months, so like for some longer period of time. And sketches, they're like these drawings. They're fast and small, and you just do it with ink, and there's no correction. You cannot go over it, and they're kind of meant to be like that. The old mistakes are there, everything's there, so it's fine.
So do you draw before you do a painting? Do you draw anything in preparation for the painting?
Uh, yeah, mostly I'm doing like some kind of small sketch, but I never drew it like I never transfer it to canvas like with these squares that people sometimes do. I just transfer it as I can. I'm watching it on a sketchbook, and I'm just transferring it and go with the flow. How it seems to me that it should be there.
And do you sketch it with the brush there? Do you kind of sketch out a kind of composition to start off, the first step? Is that how that works for you?
Yeah, with brush and a lot of turpentine. So, and I have this kind of small rug, and I'm just moving and shaping the planes, the colors and shapes. It's
That's nice.
super simple.
Yeah, well, you say that, but it's something which a lot of people wrestle with, and you have this not only natural ability, but this kind of this ability to push and work to really make things what they are, because it's talent will only take you so far, and then you've really got to put some work in, and you've got
Yeah,
both. So I really appreciate the fact that it's like the subtlety of behind you, where you've got this a lot of white bedding, and you've got to
yeah,
do a lot of subtle tonality in order to describe the contours of bedding
hmm,
for that to read to someone as
yeah,
something that's visually clear, coherent to view. And that takes a lot of understanding and nuance in the painting. So it's very subtle painting. I really appreciate how kind of delicate it is, and it's a lot of work put into that aspect. So that's not something I suppose you can sketch beforehand. You just have to work that out on the canvas, I assume.
yeah. You just have to work and mix the paint and put it right color in the right place, and that's it.
Stop making it sound like a paint by numbers. It's not. You're not doing.
I mean, yeah, something like that, but also, I mean, it's easy because it's oil, so you can just push the color with paintbrush or with hand or whatever tool you use, and that's why I love the oil paint. So it's really movable, or I don't know the word.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a fair word to use. Yeah. Um, so yeah, with oil, I mean, have you got a preference for the brand of oil? Because if you're painting on big canvases, you've got to
Mhm.
get something that's a reasonable price, I suppose, not something that's too expensive. So, what's
Yeah.
your brand of oil paint that you get?
I usually have the Rembrandt or the Winsor and Newton. Those I'm only using those for now, but oil paint is super nice because you don't really have to have a lot of paint. Like I have like one tube is lasting me for such a long time because the pigment is really strong, and so it goes for a long way.
But I assume that that means that the white is something which you'll have to buy more of quite often.
Yeah, a little bit more, but not as much. I'm
Mm.
super surprised how many canvases I can paint with just a one tube.
Nice. So you must keep it really thin. I imagine your layers are really
Yeah,
thin.
yeah, yeah. I keep it super thin because I like canvases to be smooth.
Mm.
I don't like this kind of texture in places where I don't want texture, and I don't. Oh.
Are you like that with other people's paintings? Do you prefer when it's that method with other artists, or do you not mind so
Uh,
much when it's someone else's painting?
wait, how do you mean?
When it comes to someone else's painting, do you
Hmm.
still have a preference of thin paint? Because some people find thick paint on other
Yeah,
people's paintings, they find it a bit sickly and it makes them think of kind of food, really thick clotted cream or something when it's
yeah.
really
Well,
thick oil.
yeah, well, depends on the painting, but I usually prefer the thinners, more flatter ones. I don't like those those big clumps. Like I don't know.
It's not your thing, no.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, and it's I mean, you can see parts of two lovely paintings, and it's just the feet. Is
yeah.
do they make full bodies? Are they parts of kind of diptychs or something?
Those two, no. But this one and the one behind, it's kind of super long one, the super long sleeping body. So it's
Lovely.
kind of coincidence that I just put them here.
Nice. Well, again, it's an interesting choice to um to have just the feet showing instead of having a full body. It's a composition which you'll have to decide on. How is it
Yeah.
you make your mind up on what it is that you're kind of taking out of the painting?
Uh, I don't know.
You don't honestly, you
Yeah,
don't know, like when it comes to that kind of, because to kind of say, right, I'm just going to have the legs and the feet and a cushion
yeah,
and some bedding. That's a real vision that you've had, which I don't know how you kind
yeah.
of solidify that and decide on it.
Oh, sometimes I decided by composition because I kind of had this kind of the square canvas, and I wanted to make this kind of carpet, and then I was like, what can I do more on this carpet? So I can maybe I want some human, but I don't want a full human, but maybe it will be nice to be just a feet on the carpet because it's soft. I don't know. The carpet you walk on bare feet, so maybe that. So I'm kind of still working on that one. It takes forever
That's
because
interesting.
I don't know how to finish it, but I want to finish it. I don't know how.
Okay, so what is it, part of the pattern that you haven't finished, or what's unfinished on that one?
Um, the pattern and the feet. At one point, there was a cat. At one point, there was like broken leg with this with white thing. How they call it,
A
cast.
bandage. Yeah, I
So
cast. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so it's struggle.
See, that's something I didn't know is that you would have such a back and forth with the subject. So you just wipe it back completely and remove it, I assume.
I cannot wipe it if it's paint. It's already dry, so I have to just cover it with another paint, another layer of paint. Yeah.
Suppose that gets risky because it gets thicker the more layers you have.
Yeah, yeah. But then you have a sandpaper and you can just sand it and
That's good. I mean, I'm trying to almost retroactively kind of reconstruct how I think some of these things might have visualized. Is it, this could be completely wrong. Is it that you've been relaxing at some point and you've seen your own legs and feet, and that's kind of something where it's a composition in your head? Because I'm trying to think of like how I would come up with the idea of going, oh, I'm like lay somewhere and looking at my legs against things and thinking, that's quite a picture in itself. You know, just
yeah,
having the relaxation says it all. Is that
yeah,
possibly what you've seen or something, how that's coming to your head?
yeah, yeah, possible.
Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
I always try to reconstruct things, you know.
Mhm.
When I do the
Yeah,
same thing in museums and galleries. I kind of look and think, they must have done this. It must have been these steps. But yeah, I find
yeah,
it fascinating in a really interesting composition. So I'm going to be keen to see how that square painting progresses and finds its finish. Okay, this is a Patreon video about automatic drawing. So if you join my Patreon, you will see this video and many others like it. That's what I'm showing you on the screen now, is a video that I made about a drawing process called automatic drawing. It explains how and why this is a useful way to make art. There are lots of different ways of making art, and using different tools, different thought processes, and expressing your ideas, and this is one of them. You can join now for $2 a month and start using these techniques. It's not much to ask. I know that it's too much for some people, so I appreciate that it's not for everyone, but if you can afford it, it will really help this channel. You'll also be a patron of the arts, which sounds posh. And there's nothing quite as prestigious as a posh patron of the arts. So, if you are able to do that, then I really would appreciate it. There's also animation, exhibition, and behind the scenes videos. Loads to check out on the channel. I've been making it for quite a while, so I upload a video every month, and I'm going to start creating a tier system with different exclusive access videos. I hope to see you there soon. The link is in the description. Thanks for watching. Now, the other thing that I find really interesting is color schemes, because you've got certain brands of paint that you prefer. What type of colors do you use? Do you have colors that you prefer out of the sets? Some people don't use the green, for example, and some people
Which
will.
one?
So the
The
green,
green.
some people don't use
Yeah.
the green paints as much. What about you? What's your preferred? Like, can you take me through the colors on your color palette that you'll use, do you think?
Okay, so I have these the primaries. So the white, I have the cadmium yellow. I have ochre. Um, well, I will send you the list, or I will take a picture so you can show it to people.
Okay.
But I have those primaries, cadmium red, some alizarin crimson, I think. So umbra, ultramarine. Um, I think that's kind of it. So from all of those, I mix any other color. Uh, yeah. So it gives me kind of nice range. Um, but I don't really use that much green in my paintings. Sometimes, but not really. I mostly stick to kind of pinkish for flesh tones and kind of maybe purplish or something brownish. For me, that's kind of I can they're kind of match each other super nicely, so I can just blend between them. I don't know,
Yeah,
but I guess it depends on a painting, on the motif that I'm using, the reference, or that kind of stuff. I don't know.
that's fair enough. I mean, from what it sounds like, there was two yellows. So there's cadmium yellow, yellow ochre. There's two reds.
Yeah.
There's cadmium red. There's alizarin crimson. There's only one
Hmm.
blue. There's ultramarine. Is there another blue,
Yeah.
or is it just one blue?
Um, there is one blue. At one point, I had maybe I don't know. I had one blue too. I'm not sure which shade of the blue.
Yeah,
But I mostly stick to ultramarine.
yeah, fair enough. I always find that interesting because primaries are, like you said, you can make any color with the combination of primaries, but then to have a split primary gives you that warm and cool for each one. Um,
Hmm.
and then brown's great to get your darker tones because some people use black, but they use it to kill the chroma. So if
Hmm.
things are too bright, they'll make it duller by adding a bit of black, just like you can add a bit of white, and that
Yeah.
kind of dulls the color. But some
Yeah.
people will do that by using the complementary. So
Yeah.
if they want
I'm
to,
doing that.
is that what you do? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you want to dull down the blue, you'll add an orange. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's a good technique. Oh, I love it. Excellent. And there's this, do you ever, because this is what I wonder as well, when you have these set colors, do you ever walk
Hmm.
into art shops and think, I wouldn't mind trying Indian yellow or, Daxazine purple? Do you ever pick up the odd color and just think, I'll just try it out and stick it on the palette and see what it does?
Well, I don't know. I kind of don't like to have like that much stuff around me. I like to have limited stuff. Super simple. So I would probably rather find my own shade from all these primaries if I can, if I like it. So, but yeah, I mean, it would be nice to try the other colors too. But I don't know. I don't see a reason to have so many paints of tubes.
You're probably right. I think the reason why I'm doing it, because this is the problem, is that's what I do. I walk into a shop and I'm like, "Ooh, what's this?" And I just buy
Yeah,
a new color. And I think it's
no,
because I talk to so many painters that will say, "Oh, I use rose madder for this," and I'll go, "I've never used rose madder." So if I see one in a shop, I'll think, "Right, I've got to get a rose madder and an Indian yellow, like I said, dioxazine purple and a cadmium orange." And these are all things you can mix. But I think
yeah,
artists use them as shortcut colors. So if they do want to kill the chroma of the blue, they've got an
mm,
orange to just knock the blue back instead of mixing an orange to then, make the blue a more blue gray. Does that make sense?
yeah. I mean, it's funny for me because I already have like yellow and the red on palette. I just pick those two and put my little orange, and there it is.
You're basically like lazy. Stop being lazy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe I'm the lazy because I don't want to go to shop and buy paints.
Oh yeah, that's it. You're the lazy one. No, I think it's me being the lazy one. But no, that's fair enough. That's good.
Yeah.
No, and you get what you want from the mixes as well. So that's
Yeah.
really interesting as well. So
I mean, it works for me, so I'm fine with that.
yeah,
But whatever works for everyone, for anyone, I don't want to judge anyone. If you want to have like whole wall of paint, fine. If
yeah.
you need them, fine. I have nothing against that.
Some people say to me, I've got a really small palette, and then they'll name things which are ridiculous. It's every color that I've ever heard of. So I just think, wow.
Yeah.
So it must have been massive before that smaller palette. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting
Yeah.
to try these things, isn't it?
So once I also heard some artists use, I don't know, some kind of shade of color. I think I still have it. I don't know where it is now. So it's kind of something between brownish, pinkish, something like that. So I was thinking, oh, I have to have the shade, and I kind of bought it, and I still have it. I never use it because I always forget about it. I'm just mixing like this paint like from the all the other colors, so it's kind of useless.
It's now just ornamental. You just put it out, just go, it's just a fresh
Yeah.
tube of paint that's never been opened. Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm guessing it's all brushes as well. You don't seem like a palette knife type of painter, or do you use palette knives at all?
Um, I have the palette knife, but mostly for like mixing the paint or cleaning the paint of the palette. But I rarely use palette knife to paint on canvas.
Yeah.
Well, maybe sometimes if there are like a lot of textures or something that I want to smooth it out, maybe. But otherwise, I don't think so.
Mm. You're amazing at textures as well. I'm sorry, I always compliment you loads, but I love how you do texture when you paint it, not as in the texture on the surface, but the way that you
Yeah.
describe texture in paint. I always think that's
Mhm.
really masterfully done. And
Yeah.
it's something I think it's difficult to teach as well because it has to just be observation and then intuition past a point, surely.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just feel your way through
Well,
it.
but do you think like teaching other people to paint, or
Yeah.
that's how for me to learn this those stuff?
Well, let's do that second part first, actually, for you to
Yeah.
learn that. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, I think it's only for the observation works for me the best.
But is it,
Observation, just trying to paint it how I see it or how I want it to be. So I think that is fine.
and so this is in-person observation, or do you have photo images that you zoom in to get real clarity on the textures, or is it both?
Um, Sometimes I also have the references, the photos, but I don't really zoom in that much onto them. Um, yeah, I guess so. So I have references and like the common knowledge, how I think that should be. And just by looking at my own hand, like from life. So combining all those stuff, I'm kind of trying to paint, but I think it should be. Does this make sense?
Yeah, but it's difficult to then, if to go to the first part of what we said, to then teach that, just be
Yeah,
like, yeah,
that's really tricky because every person is like different. They can have different the handwriting, the those how they call, I don't
signature,
know.
signature.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
signature. Yeah, so you kind of have to explain them how to do stuff, but also you want them to keep their own signature, and it's a mess. So you kind of have to slowly go into those.
yeah, yeah. But it's also kind of to learn observation to that extent. There's different levels of observation where some people will
Yeah.
see things and then they won't see beyond what they've seen. And I feel like what you see is beyond the initial observation because the initial observation is just light and dark. But you're seeing
Mhm.
light and dark and then real subtlety in the kind of contours and the different planes on the surface that's really
Yeah.
soft and really kind of, it's really small things that you have to do to suggest something. Because if you do it too big, it'll suggest it's really dark and big and cavernous. And you're not, you're doing
Mhm.
it really gentle to make sure that the tonality it's all very mid-tone based. It's within this range. It's not,
Yeah.
really light or really dark. It's all narrowed down to here, which is really
Yeah.
clever stuff. And I think that's really masterful work. I love it.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
I mean, I did a master's study of Monet painting, but I did it in pencil. And I realized that there's no light lights, there's no dark darks, it's all mid-range. And that made it
Mhm.
even more impressive to me to see how
Yeah.
Monet did that.
So did you do it in these color pencils or the gray
Just
pencil?
just grey pencil.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was a
So you transferred his reference to black and white,
yeah, yeah.
so you
So it was
can.
just tonal values. That's all I wanted was just the tonal values of what he'd done. But also you had to do the mark making. I've told this story a few times, but I'm going to tell you anyway. What I had to
Hmm.
do was instead of holding a pencil like that, I
Yeah.
had to hold it kind of like that because I had to snake the
Hmm.
pencil on the surface in order to make his brush marks. So I really
Yeah.
learned a lot. Instead of kind of trying to draw it, you couldn't really do it. You had to hold it really far back and sweep it
Yeah.
across there
So
to get it.
you have it like this, the longer point, so you can just.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nice.
But it was that was a real education. And I'd done Turner as well, William Turner's Fisherman at Sea, and
Also in pencil.
that was in pencil as well, yeah. But that was more real light and dark. And it was became very abstract because it was doing the water crashing and the waves and everything. So it was
Yeah.
just, this has to be really dark. And then this has to be kind of grey, but quite a light grey in comparison, because it has to be the light bouncing off the water. And you don't see waves when you're drawing it. You just see light and dark and light and dark. And then when you
Yeah.
step back, you're like, oh, makes it.
You only, I mean, the values, those are the most important things. You just have to put them into the right place. And then like you have this whole volume and everything. So
It's really trusting the process though, because otherwise, if you start to question it, you just think, no, surely this has to be, this way, because your brain starts to interrupt. Whereas the truth is, if you can let your hand and your eye communicate, that will be more accurate, won't it? Than your brain going, no, that'll be this way. It's what a guy called Paul Heaston told me once. He said that your eye can talk to your hand, but your brain intercepts the communication, and your brain will say, "Oh, foreshortening, no, it's longer like that." Whereas your eye and your hand will say, "No, foreshortening is really narrow. It's a really abstract shape." So for the hand, really small abstract shape, but your brain will go, no, it's like that. And it'll want to make it much longer than it actually is. So it's
yeah.
almost switching the brain off and just letting your eye talk to your hand. Does that sound true
Mm.
to you?
Well, yeah, I guess. But I also think that my brain should be the one that tells me like, come on, see that shape, like look at it, that's the hand, but just you have to be aware that the hand is at this position, something. So you just have to be aware to put it,
You're maybe
to
better at
put to
that than me
put.
then.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think my brain argues with my eyes. My brain's like,
Yeah.
don't listen to your eyes. It's like this. Whereas your brain's probably more switched in, going, no, my brain knows what's going on. Mine doesn't.
No,
Mine's
I
like, oh,
don't know.
flatten the hand. But no, and you've done really interesting things with proportions. I think of that painting that you did where the hand is behind the head, but it's really enlarged, like
Yeah.
purposefully stylized. That's a real
Mhm.
choice. Like, how does that come about as a decision?
Uh, yeah, that was the real choice. Because I told you about it or no?
Maybe, but that episode's
Yeah.
a long time ago now. Let's give a
Yeah.
refreshing update.
Because the person on that painting is sleeping, so you know that when you're sleeping, sometimes if you put hand in a weird position, then you cannot feel anything. But in the morning you just woke up and I don't feel my hand, so you don't know what is this object. So it became, I painted it super big, and I also added one finger, so the person has 6 fingers. So because it's super bizarre, and why not? Come on. Yeah, so that was about that. And people are always questioning why does this person has 6 fingers? But I mean, it's not that obvious because they're kind of I painted them super nicely, and you wouldn't think that a person have like you would just see the hand and it's kind of pretty normal. Just it's just bigger than it should be.
Yeah.
But then some people notice it, and I said, "Why this person has 6 fingers?" So it's kind of bizarre, but it works for me.
It does work. That's the interesting thing as well, is that you can tell it's not a mistake. You can tell that it's a decision that you've made, not only because obviously the proportion's so large, but it's also you're communicating something about, like you said, this becoming a foreign object, that it's no longer a normal
Yeah,
hand,
yeah,
because it's become numb by you cutting off the blood flow.
yeah,
So yeah,
exactly.
completely can relate to it. But it's such an interesting and confident decision to make. And I love that about your work, is that you've got this vision of, I'm going to communicate this sensation through paint. And it's not
Yeah,
always easy for artists to do that, because sometimes people think, well, maybe I need to make it more obvious, or, maybe I need to do it in the face or something. Whereas you've got this clear line of that's where the sensation is, that's where the foreign object becomes. And it's a really interesting way of, yeah, kind of speaking through this art form. It's really nice. I love that. So you don't do it all the time though. A lot of the time it's kind of a lot more, like I said, you've got this almost decorative side where it's got this beautiful patterned work, and then
mm,
the limbs, which there is communication, but it's kind of a lot more subtle than the giant hand thing. So that was
yeah,
an interesting almost anomaly in your work.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Sometimes I just keep it normal. Sometimes I would maybe I would just stretch the body so everything will become just longer than it should be, like than it is in normal life. So I like to do those stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, depends on a painting. Everyone, each of them are kind of different. So
yeah. If I was going to do something like that, I think I would have several sketchbook pages working out, does this work? Does this make sense? Do I like this? Is that what
yeah.
leads up to the painting? Do you kind of sketch a few times, or do you just kind of go, I can see it, I know it works, it's going to go on there?
So in this hand, I just had like one super small drawing, and it kind of came as maybe mistake or something like that because I was doing it super quick, so I kind of started with hand a little bit bigger, and then I kind of didn't want the face to get too close to the end of the paper, so I just drew it, I guess, smaller. And then I said, oh, that's a super nice idea. Like, I have to paint that.
That's great.
So, yeah, it came like that.
I mean, do you change other things? So that do you ever make decisions where you think this is, like the flowers on the duvet? Do you kind of go, well, in real life they're red, but I'm going to make them orange? Or, do you ever
Yeah,
kind of do things? Yeah,
yeah, I do it all the time.
really.
Like whatever works for that next to that leg. I think maybe the flowers were maybe even red or something, but I kind of didn't want them to be red. I wanted them to be like that, so I just switched the color. I kept the shape, and that's it.
And it's kind of, is it because, I mean, do you see it in your imagination first, or do you think of the color wheel and you think red's going to be too eye-catching? I want to, make sure that it doesn't draw the eye too much, or
Yeah, I'm thinking about that because I want the figure and the legs to be like the kind of the main character. I don't want this decorative stuff to be too decorative and the things that draw attention too much. So I just keep them a little bit quiet or something like that.
that's good. And is it similar with moving things? Do you ever have say I have a reference and you go, this is, here, but I really want it there because then it'll work better. You do the same thing there?
Yeah, I always.
I'm so jealous. I wish I could do that. It's something which
Yeah.
I know is there to be done, but there's something limiting my ability to be free like that. And I love it.
But also there is one great thing called Photoshop.
Tell me. It's Photoshop, you say?
Yeah. So I just sometimes, if I'm not sure of a painting, I just take the picture of the painting and I just select some stuff and then I just move them around. So I'm just thinking it would it be better or not or something like that. So
'Cause in my head, I'd
I,
go, what happens to the perspective of, say, this? If I move it over there and it's still facing like that, it's kind of the
yeah.
perspective's wrong. So I'll go, do I need to now cut out the face and make the face and use the warp tool to kind of turn that into that? And I don't know, I make problems in my head. So do you just kind of go, that's not a problem, I don't care about that? Or do you go,
Yeah,
if it
I
works, it
don't care
works?
about that. I just care about the position on the canvas,
Yeah.
where it should be, what is the real place, and then I care about how the proportions and the anatomy problems and all that stuff.
Hmm. And how about, I may have asked you this already, but like inventing things from nothing. So something which isn't there. Are you quite happy to kind of go, well, I want this to then be there, so I'll just make it instead of needing a reference?
Uh, yeah, yeah, I would just make it.
Yeah.
I would make it, I would put it there, but then I would probably search for the reference if I want some kind of specific stuff. Well, yeah, I guess. Or if I want to put some hand there, then I would probably just use my hand as it is.
How far
So I
can
would
you
just
get
point
without the
it there.
reference? Have you tried to paint without reference to see how much you remember?
Oh, I think I'm super better at remembering. I think that I kind of always need some reference just to have something
That's fair. I mean,
there.
it's probably going to miss
I
some
can,
information. Yeah.
yeah, but I don't, because I'm super jealous at some people that can draw from their imagination and put, I don't know, I guess if they're drawing with their imagination, how much detail they can make and everything, the draw. Like, I don't think I'm able to do this.
No, but it depends because surely some of your drawings are from imagination. Some of your
Yeah.
older drawings must have been imagined because they were so warped in a way. Did it start from a
Yeah, but
reference?
they start from the reference and then I kind of, then I just go freestyle and then they're kind of become crazy. It's because of that. And sometimes if I do some kind of mistake, then I'm trying to cover it and just do crazy stuff. Oh, those are kind of, yeah. But
Does
I
that
usually start with the reference.
Yeah. And does that work
I
in
kind of
painting to kind of, oh, sorry, go on. Yeah.
because I kind of like to start with some kind of concrete stuff, or I guess I don't know,
So will that
maybe.
be, will you see something out in the world and you'll think, oh, that rug is the start? Or what's the,
Yeah,
is that the type of thing? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that kind of stuff.
So I imagine your phone's full of photos of things you've been and seen in places. And
Yeah,
it's got to be. Yeah.
yeah, it's full.
Yeah. Because I mean, I don't paint nearly as much as you do. And when I walk around, I see things in paint a lot of the time. Even if it's things I don't want to paint, I'll just think the shadow is quite nice. Just I love shadows and shapes that things become quite abstract in a way and playing with
Mhm,
that. So I always think that even when people paint figurative things, they have some semblance of a relationship with abstraction. And when you're painting things that are like in this midtone range that we discussed, it's quite an abstract
mhm.
thing to push through. So, do you have that understanding of kind of abstraction that if you kind of work a lot of these abstract shapes from a distance, they'll become figurative? Is that how you think of things in a way?
Yeah, I do. Um, Especially if the canvases are bigger. Um, then I mean, because when you come closer to some stuff, they don't look kind of like some stuff that those are all kind of legs. But if you go long to some distance, they're kind of just they become that shape of that leg or something. Yeah. So it's kind of a little bit abstract, but not as much as some people can do. So some people are just going super abstract, and then they those things become bushes or something like that.
Yeah.
Some trees. Yeah.
I found that a lot of my figurative paintings like that, it starts off very abstract, and then you put
Mhm.
in certain suggestions, really subtle marks, and that makes it all of a sudden this figurative thing that just wasn't there because you need to do these layers upon layers in order to build up a painting. It has to start off really quite loose and distorted at first, doesn't it? So,
Yeah.
do you start off quite loose, or do you kind of have quite a tight style from the beginning?
So in the beginning, I start with super loose, and then then I'm not happy with it at all because I would like to have it like these nice forms and everything. But then in the end, I would also like to keep it loose. So I don't know how to how to make it loose without I don't know. I would like to make it loose, but I would still like to keep it like super nice forms and super nice objects. I don't know how to balance those things.
Yeah, there's some painters who can make things. They can do both, can't they? It's like a Venn diagram where the two circles overlap, where they have really loose marks, and yet they can tighten up certain parts of it just to make it
Yeah,
all sing together. I don't know how to do that either. I'm going to start experimenting soon with that idea, really, because I've had it
yeah,
in my head.
I'm super jealous of those people.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, no, it's great. But is your work, can you see a trajectory where your painting was and where it is now? Is there any trend where it's going in a direction where you think my older paintings were more, fill in the blank, and my new paintings are, this? Have you seen that?
Mm, I have to put them like all around me, so I have to check and do how do you call this?
Comparison?
Yeah, comparison. I have to I have to check them out. Check them out, all of them.
So nothing jumps into your head where you're thinking, yeah, it used to be a bit more like this than it is now. Is there no big
Mm,
changes or any even small changes that you think you've made?
I think there are changes for sure. Um, I don't know.
No.
I have no idea. I don't know what to tell
No, it's
you.
okay. It's a difficult question, I suppose, but
Yeah.
so tell me about your exhibition, because last time we spoke on the podcast, you hadn't had an exhibition yet, and we were talking about the run up to it. So was it
Yeah.
a solo show? Was it a group show?
It was solo shows in I was so I had few solo shows with that the whole series, the hopes and dreams, but I also had some group shows, some maybe some other works, maybe some works within that whole concept of works. Did I say it right?
Yeah, the concept of works. Yeah, the collection. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of had a good run with them. So
Amazing.
now I have to make a lot of more works so I can send them to other places,
Amazing.
other exhibitions.
So are these galleries that you exhibited in, are they showing your work again? Is it kind of galleries that you consider, ones that you're working with for, a
Uh,
relationship with them?
they're mostly like public galleries or kind of public museums, but they're not private galleries that I'm working with. So yeah.
Hmm. But I mean, is there any galleries that people should know about where you're going to show your work, where they can, if anyone wants to see your work in person, are there
Mhm.
galleries where you show your work, is I suppose the question.
Mm, it will be one work in the end of January, but there is no specific place that shows my work all the time. Like, yeah,
Okay.
there when people are calling me to exhibit there and there, like I can go there and exhibit it, and then after a month they're back to me or something like that.
So if people wanted to see that in person, do you have a website where you're going to post it, or do you post it on your Instagram? Like where will
Um,
people see that?
yeah, the website and the Instagram are the best place,
Okay.
but maybe the best place is here at my home.
You don't want people
Yeah,
knocking on your door to say, "Where are your paintings?" Do you?
yeah, exactly. So I would I'm super bad with I'm not super bad, but I'm super lazy with this social stuff. So sometimes I would post like, oh, I have this work here. I'm trying to be better at that. So people can know like that way where they can see my work.
Okay. Well, when this is edited, if
Mhm.
we have anywhere that you want to show, I'll put it on the screen now, and I'll also put links in the description below. But there will be links in the description for your website and for your Instagram account. As you
Yeah,
know, I think your work's amazing. I'm a big admirer of your work. I wish you'd post more on Instagram because I want to see updates of your work and I love it.
yeah,
And I want to see your career as it kind of blossoms and goes further and further. So
yeah,
please keep us updated. But
yeah,
it's always amazing to talk to you. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
yeah. Thank you.